Hey everyone, welcome to yet another episode of Ying's Squawk Box. This episode is going to be very straightforward. We're going to be talking about a couple of big names on my watching list, and I think these are the big guys that's going to be the leaders of the next uptrend. So, with that being said, let's turn our attention to the chart. Right in front of me, I have SPY, the ETF trust fund tracking S&P 500, which is the market benchmark. And the all-time high, it's about 417, 418, which you can round up to 420. And let's put a horizontal line. That's the all-time high. Okay, that's going to be the next benchmark we're trying to hit. And once we breach this benchmark, we're going to break that. And that's going to lead to the next uptrend. And I further hypothesis that the rest of the year, we're just going to be slowly grinding up, maybe some volatilities here and there, but eventually it's going to be a slow uptrend until the next volatility hit. So something like this is going to be an important historical event because we're hitting an all-time high. We're going to an area where there's no reference point. And this is also another reason why US financial market is the strongest market out of all markets. And this has consistently been the leading names comparing to other index. A couple of other strong index out there. You look at Germany, and they've been also breaching all-time highs. This DEU 30, it's like the German equivalent of Dow Jones Industrial Component, so it holds a good amount of weights. And you can also look at Japan. All these international markets are going up. So I think it's interesting to observe how this period play out, considering that we're coming back from the pandemic and the economic is coming back to the normal rate, and potentially see more stores opening up, and I think that's going to be something interesting to keep an eye on. In terms of names that I like, the first name is Amazon. I've also been talking about this name for a while, but I think it's probably going to be the actual time that is going to ignite. And what I mean by ignite is to say that there's going to be a breakout in the future as potentially be breaching all-time high. And specifically, we're talking about this 3600 area. Let's put a horizontal line. I like to round things up in terms of whole numbers. Now, the actual all-time high in Amazon, it's 3552. But let's put a vertical line, and that's it. And we're hitting that area. Now, in terms of daily chart, you see this thing going up and down. It might not look like a good chart, right? But let's zoom out a little bit and look at weekly chart. This is the weekly chart. As you can see, this is a standard textbook bull flag. So what do I mean by that? Let's draw a flag. This is going to be the trend line that is connecting the historical resistance point in the past. And let's draw another line from here to here that is connecting the historical support spots in the past. And these two lines form the body of the flag. Now, we're talking about flag, right? So there's also the flag pole, which is actually this line. Now, the interesting thing about bull flag is the ignition has the same magnitude of the flag pole, which means I can draw something like this. If breakout happens here, which I believe it will, then we'll potentially be looking at $4,500 for this name. Now, this is weekly charts. Obviously, it's not going to go up there next week. The ignition will probably happen in the next day or two, if not next week. But in terms of this big target, 4560, I think we're probably going to go there October 21st or even next year. So that's going to be a longer trade if you like. But if you're a short-term trade looking for beta, and I think there could be a good amount of profit being made in this short amount of period, breaking into all-time high. Me personally, I don't take that trade anymore. I'm more like an investor at this point of my career. And most of my position existed in Amazon a year ago or 2 years ago. Another name that I like, it's AI. AI is the ticker for the company C3AI. Now this company is actually very interesting. It's actually providing the cloud service and platform on a subscription base for data scientists. Now, if you're doing data science or machine learning on a project by project base, then perhaps this is going to be the product that you're looking for. It offers subscription services for you to use machine learning and data science techniques online, and as well as using parallel computing service by charging clusters or hours on a unit base. And something like that, it's going to be more cost efficient, because if you just have one project and you don't really have to invest thousands of dollars on a good laptop, and then you have to get a room to put the laptop in, and then just let the machine sit there, run its computation, that's going to be extremely costly. Alternatively, you can go to this company and you can pay $20 a month, just like Netflix or Amazon, and then you can use their online service to do some project-based computing. And you can also rent their CPUs or GPUs, which can be at a much lower rate than if you would do it by, say, go to Amazon AWS or spend thousands of dollars buy a good laptop. So I think there's going to be a small argument there for this type of service to potentially boom. And I like the central theme. I think it's an attractive argument for an investor to look for that economic scale. This is going to be the type of company you want to pay attention to. As you can see, this company recently just went IPO. It went all the way to $180. Let's put a horizontal line. It dropped all the way back to in front of $60. Let's put another horizontal line. That's going to be the maximum and minimum. Okay, so between this $180 and $60, the difference is $120. Half of that is $60. So the average of this is about $120. And I think that's going to be the target. Okay, this thing right now, it's bouncing back from $60, which is all-time low, and it's flattening out, going up and down in front of $60. It's forming this nice base. Now I think there might be a small resistance here. If it break, it could potentially breach $120, which is the average of this entire existence since this company went IPO. And that's based on a very simple theorem called mean reversion. The bounce back from support or the bounce back from resistance typically comes back to mean. And I think this is going to be a high probability event. Not to say that this thing will go all the way to 180. I will hope so, because me personally, I'm investing in this name. I hope this company to do well. I love this business. I love this practice. I'm in artificial intelligence field myself as well. So I hope this company could do well. But frankly speaking, I'm expecting some sort of volatility coming in, potentially do that, and then probably go up. And that's going to be like a best case scenario if it can successfully do that. So in addition to this name, another name that I like is AMD. AMD is short for Advanced Micro Devices. It's actually a small cap company comparing to its business competitors, Intel or Nvidia. They are the big guys. They are the large cap companies. As a small cap company, AMD has its unique personality, right? It goes up and down, certain amount of volatility, and if it breaks, it could go a heck of a lot higher. Now, this is going to be an interesting chart that I like. That's actually going to be a pivot top. That's going to be another pivot top. Now, in a shorter time frame, this actually looks like a downtrend. But if you zoom out a little bit, it doesn't really consist as a downtrend. And the reason is this. So let's take a look at the weekly chart. If you look at a weekly chart, you actually see that this whole thing can actually be considered as a bull flag, which I can draw like that. And the reason I'm going to draw it like that is because I'm purposefully avoiding this area poking up to $100. Maybe it has news, earnings, maybe it's during pandemic, who knows, right? If you zoom into like a monthly chart, this could just be a tail into the resistance area, which actually can be some information that can be ignored. So I choose to ignore this information that's poking into $100. Now, if you don't ignore this information, you might think that, okay, there might be good amount of sellers in front of this $100 and maybe it's not a good buy. And that kind of created this drop in February and in March of 2021 along with the market. So something like that, it's worth paying attention to. I still think this company is healthy overall. If you just zoom out a little bit, there's going to be another bull flag somewhere there. So if you call that bull flag, I think it's quite obvious that there's going to be another bull flag along the way. It's uptrend, it's a healthy company, it's going up, it makes computer chips, CPU, GPU. You and I also use that in our laptops. Companies like AI, they also need to use that in their company's factory. So all these things play inside into a cycle. It forms the business and technology in the United States, and I think it's something that worth our attention. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you like the channel, give it a like and hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next episode.